Thanks. Next speaker is the next speaker, and the first speaker will come from Trina. So we are really happy to have Yaodi Liu, who is Trina Solar's head of global pre-sale team. Prior, he worked among others as a system engineer in a country where Anis currently lives, and that's France. So we're very happy to have Yaodi speak about the return on customer value, Trina's 210mm G12 high power output module technology. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Let me share. Would you stop? Second. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Yaodi Liu from Trina Solar Global Presale Team. It's my great honor to have such an opportunity to share Vertex module value on system integration of PV plant with all of you. My presentation today consists of 4 chapters. In the beginning, I will give a brief background introduction why Trina Solar promotes Vertex module to the market. Then interpretation of Vertex product value in both 1-portrait and 2-portrait tracking installation. And in the end, I will spend a couple of minutes talking about hidden value brought by Vertex module. So let's start. Renewable energy business, especially PV plant business, was growing fast in the past 10 years. Meanwhile, system cost has fell by almost 80% comparing to that in 2010, and the feed-in tariff went down simultaneously. In some region, the FIT dropped even into the range of 1 to 2 US cents now. Under this circumstance, if we want to get a better payback, there are 2 solutions. One is to have more power generation. The other one is to lower down initial investment. And that's why Trina Solar pioneered the new era of Vertex module in 2020 to create more value for our customer and to make PV power more affordable for the world. In order to ensure objectivity and accuracy of value assessment, both 1-portrait and 2-portrait tracking system simulation, which I'm going to present, was done by a well-known independent third party, DNVGL, who's dedicated to energy consulting service for years, owns rich experience on all aspects of PV sector, and the cost estimation was done based on similar project and also from the report US Solar PV System Cost Model issued by Wood Mackenzie in year 2020. First is to show system configuration with different modules of 1P tracking system in 2 countries, one in Seville, Spain, the other one in Texas, US. Several assumptions were made, such as the same DC-AC ratio, same GCR, same inverter type and tracker type, same MV and HV equipment, etc. So to make sure the final comparison result is objective and rational. The yield analysis was also proceeded in the same way. Each module was simulated equally. The power generation of 535 module and 545 modules are basically equal, a little bit greater than that of 450 modules. And LCOE comparison results indicate that higher power module definitely have advantage over conventional module. And Trina Solar's Vertex product shows the best performance in the LCOE competition. As you might still remember about the energy yield of 535 modules and 545 modules, they are basically even, but how come Vertex module still won this competition eventually? The reason is so simple. Vertex module do reduce initial investment of PV plant. As you can see from the breakdown quotation bill, Vertex module save more money on tracker with panels, on DC cabling, as well as relevant installation and the mounting cost. And the logic of BOS saving is easy to get. For tracker and panel cost, the total length of tracker is shorter than that of 535 module, means less steel need for tracker in scope of the entire PV plant. About this part, I will show you a rough calculation in the next slide. And the DC cabling saving is also easy to understand. Thanks to high power, low voltage feature of a Vertex module, string number is reduced significantly comparing to 535 module, which leads to a minimum demand for DC cable. Based on our experience and internal calculation, comparing to 535 module, the reduction of DC cable is in the range of 30% to 40%. Since the module number is smaller, total length of tracker is shorter, and the demand for DC cable is the minimum, so the manpower cost could be saved accordingly. And this is important for those countries where the labor cost is expensive. Now, I will show you the rough calculation regarding tracker saving. In these two reference projects for 535 product, one string contains 27 modules. For Vertex product, 1 modules. As you all know, there is a length limitation for tracker unit. If the tracker length exceeds the maximum length limitation, tracker will not function well. So for 535 products, the single tracker length is able to reach 91.8 meters, 3 strings per tracker. And for Vertex module, the length of tracker is only 76.7, 2 strings per tracker. That leads to different tracker number, 2,536 for 535 module and 2,880 trackers for Vertex module. Looking at this number, you might think that Vertex module costs more on mounting structure, because the tracker number is higher than that of 535 module. This is not true, because unit price for these two trackers are different. As you know, cost of the tracker is mainly decided by the weight of steel structure components. In order to understand the total cost of a tracker easily, we could do a simple calculation. For 535 module, the total length of tracker is 91.8 meters multiplied by 2,536 units. That gives us about 232 kilometers. And for Vertex module, the total length is only 220 kilometers. So in the scope of the whole PV plant, the total tracker length of Vertex module is almost 12 kilometers shorter. And this is why Vertex module saves more on tracker. About DC cable saving, just like what I mentioned in previous slide, thanks to high power, low voltage feature of Vertex product, less string numbers leads to less DC cable need. In the United States and Spain projects, we could save about 32% more cable. And regarding the manpower cost, since we reduce the module number, cable length, the tracker length, there will be less installation work, less mounting work, less cabling work, less commissioning work, as well as transportation work to do, so the labor cost will be saved accordingly. For a comprehensive comparison in different installation scenarios, TaiyangNews also proceeded assessment of two cartridge tracking system 2. The location of assessment is the same with 1P tracking installation, one in Spain, one in the States, and the previous assumptions were maintained: same DCAC ratio, same GCR, same inverter type, same tracker, etc. And for the yield analysis was proceeded in the same way. Each module was simulated equally. The power generation of 535 module and 545 modules are basically even, a little bit greater than that of 450 module. From the breakdown quotation bill, you can still find a similar output result because the logic of BOS saving remains unchanged. Vertex module is still capable of decreasing cost on tracker with PAL, on cabling DC, as well as relevant installation and mounting cost. The final comparison shows that in 2P tracking installation scenario, no matter on BOS or on LCOE, Vertex module still could win the game. For Spanish project, Vertex module decreased LCOE by 3.19 comparing to 450 module and has slight advantage over 535 module. For US project, Vertex module decreased LCOE by 3.72 comparing to 450 module and saves 0.44% more than 535 module does. About saving details for 535 products, the single tracker length is able to reach 1.45 meters, 4 strings per tracker. And for Vertex module, the length of tracker is 58.07, 3 strings per tracker. That leads to 1,902 trackers for 182 module and 1,920 trackers for Vertex module. We could do a calculation just like what we did in the 1P simulation. And finally, total tracker length of Vertex module is 5 kilometers shorter, still make saving on tracker. About DC cable saving, label cost saving, I think it's unnecessary to go into details once again because it's the same logic with 1P track installation assessment. Besides visible number presented in the previous chapters, there's also a tiny thing that might be usually ignored by us, but extremely important to the safety and the economy of PV plant, which is connector. Besides built-in connectors of modules, at least 2 pairs of connectors need to be assembled with the PV cable manually on site in order to interconnect the string with combiner box or with string inverter. Unlike connectors assembled in module supplier's factory, the uniformity and the quality of those assembled on construction site could not be assured. Sometimes the contact resistance of these connectors might be very high, which increase resistance in DC circuits, leads to more DC loss that we can see in worst case, even resulting fire. And that's the hidden value brought by Vertex module. Low module voltage feature greatly decrease number of strings, accordingly reduce the demand for connectors. In the 100 megawatt project presented previously, Vertex module at least decreased connectors by 6,584, which means 6,584 less potential risk points to worry about, reduce cost on connectors procurement and installation, accelerate project progress, reduce DC loss, minimize fire risk, reduce connector spare parts need in inventory. With all visible value and a hidden one, Trina Solar Vertex module would offer you an ultimate solution to optimize your investment, make you pay less and get more. Thank you.
Thanks, Yaodi. Very interesting to look at the system side of things. Let's see if we have a few more questions on that. I think we're good in time. So there was one question: if there are if you have results when comparing Vertex G12, the 600 watt version with the reference modules. Are the results similar?
I'm sorry, I missed your point.
There's because you had mostly 550 something watt products. You have also over 600 watt products, right?
It's a comparison between 166 wafer modules to 182 and to 210 module.
Okay, okay. There was one question also regarding inverters. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? So your products versus and how it works with the current inverter products that are available?
Yes, actually, we have a conversation and several serious meetings with mainstream inverter manufacturers, such as Huawei and Sungrow. They have some ultimate solution for us for the current products, but their new products will be published soon in just a couple of 2 or 3 months.
Okay. How do you see actually in general also the potential for trackers in Europe actually? So I think so far we haven't seen them too much. I think Spain was different in the past, but I think in many, especially in Central Europe, utility scale plants are not so much using tracker products. What do you see? Did you see big potential for trackers in Central Europe as well?
Yeah, if the land is flat, and actually we need to do the calculation and the assessment of the financial model to comparing. If we use a tracker, of course, the total investment of the project comparing to the fixed installation ones will be higher. But there will also be more power generation. We will find a balance. But in the future, I think that's a big potential, not only for the Central Europe, but also for the rest of the world.
Okay. I think there is there was also one interesting question. So from which albedo becomes bifacial interesting to optimize the LCOE for your products?
I'm sorry?
So I don't know. So I think so. I think when we look at also bifacial technologies, so so when what albedo would we need actually also to optimize, then also see the LCOE improvements pan out also in terms of different costs?
I don't follow the question. Sorry.
Okay. So let's talk about what about your you're offering also bifacial technology. So at which markets are you addressing that at the moment?
At the moment, I think we're more recommend the market in Middle East, Europe, North America, and Latin America. I think that's all good market for bifacial products.
Okay. There's one question. I don't know if it's about your products. Does Trina plan withdrawing 580 watt module series?
About that, I'm not at liberty to disclose that so far.
Okay. Okay, so I think there are several questions more. I think now we're back in time. So as you can see in the chat, somebody from Trina's marketing department has also sent their email. If you have any detailed questions on such specifics as I have just asked, please get directly in touch with them. So Yaodi, thanks for your presentation. And let's